I'm like the metal myth buster, I guess.
That's a lie.
I don't remember that part.
Get your shit together, Wikipedia. Wikipedia, it says You're Playing on Hell Awaits and Rain and Blood features a wailing style and demented soloing used to mimic the screams of the song's victims.
What? What song's victims?
I guess the characters.
Nobody died in those songs.
Rain and Blood, I think a lot of people probably died on Angel of Death.
Well, that's fair. But they didn't die on our record.
No, not physically.
Wikipedia, the words thing's pretty shitty, don't they?
That's why we do this thing.
So, read me that one again.
You're Playing on Hell Awaits and Rain and Blood features a wailing style and demented soloing used to mimic the screams of the song's victims.
What do you say to that? I'm just kind of...
I guess
that's a statement, isn't it?
I guess it's just a fan's perception of what it was, maybe trying to think very artistically about it.
Well, my leads are archaic for sure.
Black Album producer Bob Rock, he said he altered Metallica's working schedule and routine so much that you guys swore to never work with them again.
Oh no, I don't remember
fiction.
that. I don't remember that part.
Gotcha.
I remember being so happy about the result that we wouldn't work with anybody else except for him. That's what I remember.
Wow, so quite the opposite.
Quite
then.
the opposite.
Yeah.
So if something happened later with it, I don't know. But at that moment, no, we were very proud of finally getting him into our camp, and the things that he showed us and the things we showed him made a very, I mean, look, it sells 4,000, 5,000 copies a week still, guys.
Today. It said that you once poured a full can of beer down Ron McGovney's bass, which gave him an electric shock that blew him across the room.
That's a lie.
That sounded false to me.
Yeah,
I don't
what
think
happened
the
was
physics quite work.
Ron, who I'm friends with now, had someone who was an acquaintance of mine jump through his window, take a bunch of his records.
Oh, geez.
And Ron was right to be mad, but he blamed me for it. And I was so offended that I poured a beer into his guitar.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do it to hurt him, and anybody with half a brain cell knows that if you pour liquid into an object that, you know, is not plugged in at the moment, it wasn't, because why would Ron be wearing a guitar and let me pour a beer into it? As soon as you do that, it stops working.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it's not just going to fly across the room.
And plus, don't you think you would have heard that story before from me?
This was the first time I heard this
Yeah,
story.
I mean, I would have said something about it.
You and Dan Lilker, it said that it was your decision to let Dan go from the band. No, due to his lateness, sloppiness, and unprofessional behavior.
No, that would have been Neil Turbin's decision.
Okay.
Granted, at the time when it happened, Neil took it upon himself to make that decision and actually fire Danny. But none of us were thrilled with that decision. But we were in a rock and a hard place kind of scenario where Neil kind of gave us an ultimatum of it was kind of like him or me scenario, and it just sucked. It's still one of those things that's you know, I could pretty much say it's still one of those things that's I don't hold on to much. I move forward in life, but that's something that's stayed with me since then. Like, it's something that I was never happy about, and getting kind of my hand was forced into a decision that I didn't want to have to be a part of. Yet that's what enabled the band to move forward, and it really sucked.
Right. So that's fiction for you paying attention at home. Get your shit together, Wikipedia. Way back in the MTV days, Madhouse, banned by MTV because they thought the content was degrading to the mentally insane.
Wow. Yeah.
Is that the reason you were handed?
You know what? I think MTV, it's false, because MTV banned Anthrax, period. I mean, you know, when was Anthrax played on MTV? A little bit. I mean, maybe a little bit. We were never one of those bands, if you think about it, that was on MTV. We never got that. If we did, we would have sold millions of records instead of gold records, which is great, look, in its own right. But we never had that always on MTV thing. I think Got the Time got a little bit of play, right? A little bit of touch. Antisocial, a little bit. We never got to have that time that all these other bands, which is fine, because we work for it. It's all good. We're still here.
And for me, it's hard to believe that the mentally ill are not Anthrax fans.
I'm
It
sure
seems like they'd gravitate to you guys. I don't think they're listening to fucking Taylor Swift. And
I'm mentally ill, and I'm an Anthrax fan.
There you go.
That's
Perfect.
what my therapist says. I mean, whatever.
Before you took over Kirk Hammett's spot in Exodus, you were Kurt's guitar tech, but then it said after guitarist Tim Agnello left Exodus in 1981, then you joined and have become the main songwriter since.
Yeah, there's some truth to there. Tim Agnello was the guitar player before I joined, but Exodus operated as a power trio with Tom playing drums and singing for a while. I met Kirk. I was a roadie, not a tech. You were playing backyard parties for free beer. You're not a technician at anything. That means you just hung out and you drank beer and maybe carried a guitar case in.
Totally.
I didn't tune the guitar. I didn't touch the guitar. Kirk taught me my first chords because we hit it off and became really fast friends. And 6 months later, I joined the band.
Damn, Kirk Hammett taught you how to play guitar?
Yeah, he showed me.
Just on the fly.
The first song he taught me, and I have a really good memory, and this is one thing I can't remember, but it was a Rolling Stone song. It's showing me some basic chords.
Yeah.
And I can't remember which one it is. Maybe Wild Horses or some shit like that.
That's pretty fucking cool. It says that your first lyrical contribution to Slayer was the vampire-themed track At Dawn They Sleep on Hell Awaits.
That's the first one that I was given credit for, yeah.
Okay, so what did you do
I
did
stuff on Show No Mercy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it's Jeff was working on ideas and he's working out ideas. Like, how about if you did this here? He goes, oh, okay, cool. We write stuff. So I helped write. I contributed lyrics to some of the songs on Show No Mercy.
Okay.
Even though I didn't get credit for it.
All right, well, there you go. A little bit of fiction there. The sound engineer, Bill Matoyer, thank you, thought that he was going to hell for his part in recording the EP's lyrics.
He probably said that in jest.
In jest?
Bill's still a fun guy. I see him every once in a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did hell. He did the first 3. Well, 2.5. Show No Mercy. He did the Haunting the Chapel and Hell Awaits.
Do you think that's something he'd really believe, or was this kind of like a funny thing?
I'm sure it was just in jest.
All right, so he doesn't actually think that. That's good. He shouldn't. It says after rejecting several names, including Virgin Killer, the band finally settled on Overkill, but it also says that you guys were originally a cover band that did go by the name The Virgin Killers.
Fiction.
Fiction.
Part fiction, part fact.
Good.
The end is fiction.
Okay, no Virgin Killers.
Yeah, we liked that name, and it may have even done one show as Virgin Killer, but it was, believe me, it was based on the Scorpion records, not our our promiscuity with women.
It said around 93, you wanted to incorporate a more melodic style of playing into Testament, but this didn't fare well with Eric Peterson, Chuck Billy, and Greg Christian at the time, which led to your departure from the band.
That's not entirely true.
Not quite true.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, was that part of it, at least?
Not really. I mean, I think I always wanted melody and harmony.
Sure.
That was always part of my department. Mm-hmm. But I think at that time, I don't think those guys knew what they wanted. I chose to leave.
Yes.
Everybody knows that. Nobody disputes that. Mm-hmm. Within a couple months, the drummer, our drummer, Louis Clemente, left. Mm-hmm. Within a year, the bass player was gone. So the band was going through a tough time. And it's a good thing that they didn't implode. But I think they kept it together. I think they learned from everybody leaving, because everybody who left ended up coming back at one point. Mm-hmm. But now it's a different lineup. It's a different bass player. It's a different drummer.
Yep.
But it feels very solid. And there is plenty of melody now, and there's plenty of
tremendous
harmony.
Amount of that. Yes.
I just think, I think there was confusion. I think I always liked, fast. I always liked aggressive, music, but I was a big Randy Rhoads fan.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to be able to incorporate that element, and I think there were others in the band at that time who would have rather been like Venom.
Yeah. Working for Exodus as a guitar tech, Rob Dukes played a demo tape, created it in 1996 for Rick, Tom, and yourself, and this led to his eventual spot as the band's vocalist.
False.
False.
Rob was my guitar tech, and you know he was. It was like really just fortuitous circumstances that we even met Rob, because we had a guitar tech on the tour. We were out with Megadeth, and the guy was just not getting the job done. And it was early in the tour. We were in Los Angeles. If we're gonna send this guy home, he's only like, you know, a few hours from home, 45-minute plane flight.
Yeah.
And a mutual friend said, I know this guy, he's ready to go tonight, Rob Dukes. And so he came on, and he was there, and we were using a fill-in singer, Steve Esquivel from Skin Lab, on that tour.
Okay.
And Rob wanted a shot. But the false part is, I'd never heard Rob sing a note before he showed up and rehearsed. I never heard this demo. To my knowledge, Rob was always just a guitar player, never sang.
Okay.
So I've never heard the mysterious Rob Dukes demo.
Okay.
The first demo I ever heard was when he actually demoed some new Exodus material so the label could hear what the hell we were doing.
Sure. Yeah.
They were like, you got a new singer? Oh my God, we want to hear it.
That's frightening for any label, and bands too, really. But
Yeah.
Anthrax was forced to cancel its first European tour due to the Chernobyl nuclear disaster.
No.
Complete fiction.
We were in Europe during Chernobyl.
Okay.
And while that happened, they said, we were on tour, I think it was the three bands. It was, Agent Steel, it was Overkill, and Anthrax. We were on one bus, and when I say bus, I'm saying upright bus. There were no beds, there was seating like you see in a bus.
Okay.
So we slept in there, we traveled in there, and when Chernobyl hit, they said we couldn't walk on the grass. They said don't eat the meats, don't eat the vegetation. All you could do is drink bottled water and bread for 3 weeks. That is, I swear to God, that is fact. That is exactly what happened.
That's what you lived on for 3 weeks.
I'm telling you, man, the food wasn't good anyway at that time. There was no money. I mean, we were living off $5 a day. Literally, I'm not kidding. There was no money anywhere. And you had to keep doing it because that's how you made your name. You had to keep playing and touring. Talk about paying your dues. Imagine going home and worrying about, when am I going to develop the cancer stuff that they're talking about from Chernobyl. That scares the hell out of you. And we didn't know any better. We were young kids. I mean, I was 17, 18 years old. It's like, oh my God! It's like, what's going to happen? My mother's calling, get home now! What do you do? But,
it's a good mom.
It's a great mom.